Hi YouTube, it's Craxy. Welcome back to the channel. Hero Siege Season 8 begins on September 12th. With that, I'm going through all my build guides from Season 7, updating them for the new patch. In today's video, we're going to talk about the start and progression guide for the Lightning Stormweaver. This is going to help you league start the character, get you into early game to start farming for items so you can progress into the mid game as well as the end game. So be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, keep updated with all future Hero Siege related news, content, and build guides. And let's get into it. First of all, disclaimer, this was made during the closed and open betas with the content mechanics that are available at that time. We don't have item spawners in the Season 8 beta, so this is really just going to be based on past data and past builds, as well as me in the chat going through the journal and just theory crafting with items that we see. So we are live at Twitch at twitch.tv/Craxy_TV. The boys are the boys are fishing while we go through all these different build guides. So if you've never played Stormweaver before, this is just a lightning caster build. It much resembles, like a spark or just a chain lightning character. So you can see our main skill that we'll be using is lightning surge. This is going to give us a ton of these lightning surges that will chain between enemies, does a ton of damage. It's really cool. There is another skill setup that we use called Charge Bolt. This is mainly what you're going to be using to level with, as well as some of the early bosses, as this does shotgun on them, which does a ton of damage, especially on bosses that have a bigger hitbox. But later on, Lightning Surge we found does better damage in terms of single target, so you will have to be using that in order to really get your boss damage going, right? So that's mainly the thing. You just teleport around, either use your Charge Bolt or use your Lightning Surge for damage, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's talk about some of the changes to the build going into Season 8, right? I don't have any, apparently. I can pull them up real quick. There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening with Stormweaver. Hello? I'm gonna copy all these. Beautiful. Okay. A lot of the synergies for like Charge Bolt's changed. Charge Bolt got a damage buff on it, right? As well as int scaling buff. This makes it just way better for helping in the early game. You're going to get way more projectiles on Charge Bolt off the rip, which really helps where it's clear. And again, like Gurag bossing, you're going to absolutely wreck. So that's really nice. We're not going to be using Static Shock or Storm Cloud too much for like base damage or base jumping around and killing monsters. They did get some buffs to them. I haven't had a chance to like really go through it and test either one of these. So we do use them as like debuffers and stuff, but we're not going to be using it as like a main damage option. As well as there are some changes to Apocalypse Thunder that are going to change in our sub skill tree. So we'll talk about that. But the main things here is Lightning Surge didn't change at all. Charge Bolt's a little bit better. You'll use it to level with, and some of the early game stuff falls off later until you get a shitload of gear, in which case we're going to start using Lightning Surge, right? For pros and cons, this character is pretty easy to level. Nothing too difficult about it. We actually leveled it today for the most part. It was super easy. It's one of the fastest farmers in the early game, like especially when you get into Hell 1, Hell 3, or even you get enough gear into Hell 5. Like it is a very fast character. It has a lot of really cool cosmetics, especially in the next season. There's a bunch of like chain lightning cosmetics that you can do that are sick. However, you get no single target. They have buff Charge Bolt. They've done some things to the character. You still ain't gonna have good single target, right? You might need to be carried through some of the act bosses because they all got buffed. They have way more life now than they had before, and the character already struggled with killing bosses. So I'm just gonna tell you now, it is a very fast farmer, but if you play it and you complain that you don't have single target, I don't feel sorry for you. You've been warned, okay? It is also a popular class. A lot of people are going to be playing Stormweaver because it is a very fast farmer. It'll help you get items. It's super easy to roll into another character. So if you end up, finding a bunch of items, you can make a boss killer, and you can just have a second character as your boss killer. It's not really a big deal. A lot of people do that. So just letting you know, this will be a popular class. So a lot of the lightning items will be expensive, right? You're going to have to farm out stuff to sell or whatever if you're playing SSF. It could be a little bit harder to do this character in SSF just because you aren't going to be able to kill the bosses. You're going to have to speed farm to get the progression. So now in the written guide that it's available on the website and the link in the description for all that stuff, I have all of these skill trees that you use to level with. You're just going to level with Charge Bolt, put points in this and its synergies. You'll do that all the way until level 100. It's super easy to level this character. I have all the skill trees available for all the levels that you'll want it, as well as all the sub skill trees. If you don't know what sub skill trees are, if you're a bit newer, whenever you open up your skill tree, you'll see that there's these plus signs next to skills, right? This will let you spec out your tree a little bit more, so you can put points in this stuff to get like, additional bolts or increase their size or whatever that stuff may be, right? So you can definitely do that while you're leveling up, give you a ton more damage. I have all those trees listed here for you, so you know exactly what to do as you level up with your trees. For attributes, 2 points intelligence, 2 points vitality. Get enough energy to feel comfortable. This character uses a lot of mana. You're going to be casting a lot. You need a lot of cast rate to deal do good damage. So you're going to need a good mana pool. Look for energy on charms, mana on charms. Might put some points into energy until you can find some good sustain from mana on kill. Things like a mana replenish, like a percent mana replenish, actually goes a long way in just flat regening on your mana. Getting reduced cost of skills, like in the sub skill tree, this will reduce the cost of skills. As you get more plus skills, it just passively will reduce the cost, as well as there's a way to reduce the cost of skills just within some of these sub skill trees. So if you're just having a lot of trouble with mana, that can really help. That can really help while you're leveling up as well. And then once you get to the end game, you're going to dump all your points in intelligence. You just want as much damage as you can get, and just really be a end stacker. Now, for gearing, I do have gearing suggestions for leveling, budget. Oh, where'd it go? For leveling, all your budget, and for progression gear, right? So while you're leveling, you're really just looking for, things like lightning skill damage, magic skill damage, the typical stuff that you look for in a lightning caster. This is going to look fairly the same for all of these items here. One of the biggest ones that I don't see people use enough is damage reduced by. This is such a strong stat. I was actually showing this on stream today. I picked up a chest that gave me, I think, 7 reduced damage in Act 1. I could literally, with 80 life, just stand in a bunch of monsters and wouldn't die. It's so OP. I ended up getting like another one that I think it was 30. Same thing. I stood in a bunch of monsters, was getting hit by a bunch of projectiles. I had like 200 life and nothing. It's a very, very strong to help you level with. It'll make bosses and monsters do basically no damage to you for all of normal. Okay, so be definitely looking at that on chests. It's really important. Otherwise, lightning gems will give flat lightning damage. So imagine all these gems here. This said lightning damage instead. This will give you a ton of flat damage to your lightning skills. Really important to be socketing these into just whatever items that you pick up. You have holes, dump topazes in them. It'll give you a ton more damage while you're leveling up. Beyond that, there are some rune words that you can pick up or make as you're going. If you end up finding a 4-socket sword or a 4-socket spellblade, by all means, you can make a sky song. If you have the runes and stuff, definitely not needed. You can get through all the campaign on just like rare and mythic items, but I do have these listed in here if you would like to go another route. Okay, next we have budget items. These are going to be just items to help you get through Hell 1. Our main goal at this part in the game is just to kill Mevius in Hell 1. That way we can unlock Satanic Zones. Satanic Zones are really important for farming. They offer, runes, relics, all sorts of things can come out of Satanic Zones. So it's really important to unlock those quickly to help you with your farming. So a lot of these items in here are going to be either just cheap rune words or just cheap, items like this Thunder Dagger, right? Gives you a ton of like int, cast rate, lightning skill damage, and pen with a couple of sockets. Really strong item if you can get one. So things like that. You could really put a combination of any of these items together. It would help you progress through that first phase and kill Hell 1 Mevius. So a lot of those items are listed in here. Next, we have progression gear, and this is going to be items that you're going to want to target farm in order to push through the Hell difficulties and try to get yourself into Hell 5 and start blasting Hell 5. So you can find more items. So for example, something like Sawyer's is an absolutely insane item. This can be target farmed if you look in the in-game journal, right? Go in here by pressing escape, hit the journal, click items, and scrolling all the way down. I believe it's just right at the bottom. Wow, I actually remember that. You can see that the act is Act 5, Zones 2 and 3, and Act 5 Dungeons. This might be different in Season 8. I'm currently in Season 7. But you can see that you can actually target farm this item out of those zones. And target farming is way better in Season 8. They've given you some dedicated roles to those chase items whenever you are to drop an SS item. It's going to be much easier to get the items that you want out of these zones. So definitely start looking at some different items that you want to try and target farm. find out where they come from and go fetch for them, right? So I have a ton of items listed in here that will help you to progress your character, get more damage, get more survivability, whatever it may be, to push, right? Biggest thing on a caster, if you're interested in knowing like what will be your biggest upgrade, extremely important to get 100% pen cap, right? So you want to have minus 100% to enemy lightning resistance, will super help with your damage. And then things like extra damage are very important to scaling up your damage, right? Because it's extra, it's a more multiplier. Next, we have Inferno items. These are items that are in Inferno only. You can't get them anywhere else. A lot of these are locked behind bosses, right? And bosses are much harder than they've been, especially for a Stormweaver. You're going to need a lot of gear. You're going to need a lot of gear to be able to get some of these items. So I put all the Inferno items in their own category as aspirational items. If you're able to get them, sweet. If you're playing in trade and you're able to buy them, whatever, maybe you got friends, they can definitely help with the build, but they're not necessarily required in order to progress, but they are there, right? For relics, they have a bunch of relics listed here. Generally speaking, for a lightning caster, it's the same relics we've been using. There are a couple changes. Lightning globe can give you 5 skills. It'll be the lightning variant of this instead of ice. So it'll be 5 lightning skills and lightning skill damage. And then same thing for this orb here. This orb of lightning gives you 30% of your pen on a relic. That's insane. So this plus like a Sawyer's and you're over halfway to your lightning pen cap. Very, very important. As well as if you scroll down, there's some like additional life ones. There's some utility options. There's a lot of different relics that you can go with. The Fall of Darkness quest now unlocks the 5th relic slot. Again, gonna be hard for a Stormweaver to do because you gotta kill Amon-Ra and Uber Gabriel in Hell 5. So a little bit harder. If you're able to do that, you will get a 5th relic slot, which will give you more damage or whatever you want to go with. So keep that in mind. Potions haven't changed much for Season 8. You can really just use any potions that you were using before. You can scroll through here. There's a ton of different options like magic skill damage or, if you want to life and mana replenish, if you want additional skills, really important. There's tons of them in here. For chest augments, Monstrosity is probably the best damage for you. This is what I would go with. Mercenaries went through quite a big change for Season 8. There's a lot of just new buffs and just changes to their overall skills. I'm not going to go super in depth with the Merc stuff. I think there's going to be some interesting Merc combos and trees and all that sort of thing. For this guide, we're just going to focus on turning your Merc into a Magic Find Aura bot, right? Because I think that's going to be the most value for most players. So you can go for the Mage Merc. Here's what the skill tree would look like if you went that route. This will give you a magic skill damage buff. You can get 100% cooldown on this character in order for it to like proc that buff a lot. But most likely, you're probably just going to want to go for a Knight Merc to get the most amount of Magic Find, and he's a thick, tanky boy. This Mage Merc is still paperweight, right? Mercs can also use boots, belts, and gloves now. So there's some additional Magic Find items that are available. For the character, I have all those listed out. So all the items that you're going to see in the Merc section are they're Magic Find centric, okay? Hero levels, if you're not familiar, I do have a whole guide on how to spec your hero level tree and just talks about what the hero level tree is. If you're familiar with it, this top part up here, there's some nodes in the top that were super changed and very worth now. So definitely take a look at some of those. Beyond that, most of the tree is pretty much the same. You're going to spec it the way you've always done. Same for glyphs. Glyphs didn't really change much for the new season. So if you're not familiar with that, go check out this video. You'll get a tidbit on what glyphs are, how to get them, where they're at, what they do, that sort of thing. Loot filters. I do have loot filters available for everyone, every class, archetype, whatever you're playing. These are all available on the website. Just click on this link here, all filters. It'll take you to a dock that has all the filters on the left. You just click the lightning caster. You're good to go, right? It'll import it from there. There'll be a pastebin link and everything. Easy. If you need some additional information on how the loot filter works, or maybe you want to make your own, I do have a video that talks about the entire filter and every little thing that you'd want about how it functions, that sort of thing, all the ins and outs. And lastly, I do have one last helpful resources page on the website. Talks about mining, or if you need the ultimate beginner's guide, if you aren't familiar with the hero siege helpers, tons of info in there just for new and returning players. And so that's all organized in one spot, right? So yeah, that's going to be it for the Lightning Stormweaver. Again, I think it's going to be an extremely fast character. Should be stronger than it's ever been. Some of these new items that are available in Season 8 are absolutely insane. It's going to make this character just stupid. I really think that this character, in terms of farming, is going to be absolutely stupid. However, you're going to need to figure out your single target, right? So as long as you can do that, absolute blaster. Come watch us live, twitch.tv/Galaxy_TV. The boys are still fishing, having tons of fun, making me bald. So come by, stop by, say hello. Love to see you on launch day. If not, hit that subscribe button. Keep up to date with all future Hero Siege related news, content, videos. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.